Hey, Scorpio. Thanks for your patience with this reading. I really appreciate it. I was getting ready for your reading, and I started to get this like super anxiety feeling in my chest. So I feel like some of you really need to like meditate, start breathing a little deeper. It's going to be okay. Like, I know that your full moon is coming up, and a lot of times that really starts to shake things up in your life. It's like the Aries new moon. Everybody talks about like manifesting things, and then we get to the full moon, and that's kind of a culmination of everything that you've manifested, and like bringing that into fruition. Sorry, my mouth is really dry too. Just the overwhelming. I mean, I feel like you guys think that this, it's almost, like the sky is falling kind of thing, and it's not, if things are being cleared out of your life in April and going into May. I'm going to do 2 separate spreads, one for the first half of April and then one for the first half of May. If things are being cleared out of your life and things that you've been holding on to for some time, even as I'm saying this, I'm getting a little bit more anxious. So like the words that I'm saying to you guys, it's not supposed to scare you. It's supposed to help open up your life to things that you really need to see. And we talked about in the first half of April of really letting go, so you can move into your future, so you can move forward. And if you've started to do that, then you will feel changes and different, Fixed signs have a really hard time with change, and you guys especially, because your sign is it's death and transformation. And when you're going through it firsthand, and then a full moon comes into your sign, it's like, oh. So don't fear the change that's happening. Whatever you are having to let go of, or kind of coming to the realization that you have to let go of it, it is for the best. And if the universe has been gradually taking things out of your life, that's better than it just being one big shock because you held on for too long, right? And I've been through that before. Like, I've had that holding on to something for way too long, and then all of a sudden something happens, and it's like that big shock, moment that nobody wants to have in their life, right? So just know that you're on a very strong path forward. We have the Page of Swords, and we have the 6 of Wands. Rising above an air sign that is biting, or if this air sign is harsh, manipulative in some way, you're really rising above the situation. It could be at work, it could be at home, it could be in a relationship. 2 of Cups. Somebody you have a very close connection with, and there's a fire sign. It could be that you are cutting a fire sign out of your life as well, that you had a very close connection with. Or you're cutting an air sign out of your life to bring a fire sign in. However that resonates with you, you will feel the loss. 5 of Cups wanted to pop out there. So you will feel the loss, but know that we have the Sun. Sorry for the loud banging noises. The people upstairs are being a little loud today. Know that there's a brighter day right around the corner. Like, not everything is gone when the 5 of Cups comes out. Let's talk about Chiron moving into Aries, which is just opposite of you. Is that right? No, I'm lying. Chiron moving into Aries is talking about, we went from Pisces, which is a water sign. Chiron is an asteroid. It is the wounded healer. So no longer will we be feeling all of those wounds now that we're in Aries, which is more of a warrior vibe, a fire vibe. It will be now I'm going to do something about it. And this is a long time transit. Like this is 7 years before it'll actually go back into Pisces in September for a little bit, because it'll go retrograde and then it'll go back into Aries. So we're going to have to probably revisit some of those wounds that we didn't quite heal. But also in May, Uranus is going into Taurus, which is really going to shake things up a little bit for some people. And it's like really like the foundation of life will be, you know, Taurus is all about beauty and love and the material values of life, and surrounding yourself in a wonderful atmosphere where you can be just stable and calm. And if you're not in that place, there will be, and Uranus is a long time transit too. This is like a whole new era that we're coming into, of really testing the foundations of where you are. So if you're having to cut somebody out of your life that you have a very close connection with, whether it's an air sign that's a little bit childish or a Queen of Wands that is kind of standing firm in where, you know, the Queen of Wands is very independent, very straightforward, very like, I'm going to do it and I'm going to do it my way. And that's all there is to it. And really rise above that, because recognizing the place where you need to be, yeah, you might have to let go, and it might be a little bit sad, but it's also going to bring brighter things into your future. So there's no need for anxiety. And you have promises of gifts coming from the universe. The Ace of Cups. Lots of promises of gifts. And lots of, and this is where that Sun card comes in. This could be a Leo that you're dealing with. Doesn't have to be. That's just, you know, Sun card. Ace of Cups is a new relationship, rekindling of a relationship. It could also be just the emotional fulfillment within yourself that you really need to find after losing something in your life. And I feel like it's really time to kind of take a step back. And instead of, you know, we have this Four of Swords taking a step back. And then we have the Knight of Swords. These are very contradicting cards. So this might be what you're fearing, almost. Like, if you start to cut ties with whatever it is that you need to cut ties with, will it cause discord in my life? Will someone come, like, raging in with nasty words and all sorts of crappy things to say to me if I open up my mouth and actually say how I feel about anything? And I feel like that's what you're rising above. Or it could be that you really, really, really have some things to say and you're kind of thinking on it right now. And what I really want to tell you is, now that Mercury has gone direct, the post-shadow period isn't over until May 3rd, but now that Mercury has gone direct and everybody kind of wants to start talking again, the communication's starting to speed up a little bit more, you might have a tendency to want to do this. But Saturn's also in retrograde right now, and with Jupiter in retrograde. If you are sitting and contemplating, like, what am I going to say just to whomever it is, I really want to tell you to sit in this Four of Swords state for a minute. Don't charge in and just be like, blah, 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 blah. And ask yourself, is this going to help me? Is this going to help me in my life some way? Or am I going to cause more damage than good if I charge in and say, you know, like, it's not that I'm telling you not to say something, because of course, if you have things to say and you like really need to step up and say something, then say it. But don't do it in a really angry, like, this is how hurt I am, I'm so angry kind of way. Really sit on it for a minute. And now you guys are like, I don't know if I should say anything now. Two of Wands. The Two of Wands is kind of a passive approach to making a decision. I like the Three of Wands decision more. In this deck, this guy, one foot is tied to one wand and one hand is tied to the other, and he's happily talking to a bird. So he's like comfortably, he needs to make a decision. It's time for him to make a decision on whether to move or not. If he stays there for too long, it's going to get really uncomfortable. But for now, he's comfortably stuck in, and I feel like it's, do I have this conversation or do I wait? Do I have the conversation or do I wait? Well, I guess it kind of depends on the nature of the conversation. Six of Pentacles. Who are you giving your energy to that doesn't deserve it? Because oftentimes when we get the Six of Pentacles, this is all about, yes, it's about wanting and needing reciprocity in a relationship between two people or more than two people. But usually one person is giving more than the other. So if you're giving your energy and your time and feelings, hopes, dreams, you know, you want to be able to be clear enough in the head to see this Ace of Cups coming to you. So I really feel like there's something that is there that you might not be seeing quite yet. And if you do have something from the past that you have to take care of, and it's a cleansing thing for you to say what you need to say, by all means, do that. Don't stay stuck in a situation where you're giving too much. If you need to tell somebody, hey, I'm giving you like way too much of myself and there's no reciprocity here. Or if there's no reciprocity, then maybe it's time to let go. I don't know, Scorpio. I feel like the anxiety and need to speak is weighing you down so much that you're not seeing where you can build your life. The Three of Pentacles, the Eight of Swords, the Wheel of Fortune. Everything is happening in divine timing. And if you're sitting there and you're like, oh my God, when is my new start going to happen? And you're in the Eight of Swords, I want to tell you that the Hermit is at the bottom of the deck. So it could be a Virgo in your life. But more than anything, the Eight of Swords to me, I always call this like the quintessential Virgo card. Because if we're not sitting in the Hermit stage, which speaks about really learning about your higher self and higher knowledge and being very wise about the path that you want to take and opening yourself up to a very spiritual part of you. Oftentimes Virgos, you know, the reason why I'm a Virgo, the reason why Virgos are the Hermit is because we have to pull back to recalibrate. But if we sit in the Hermit stage for too long and we're mulling over the same thing in our head over and over and over again, it could become the Eight of Swords. And we don't want to go to the Eight of Swords because the Eight of Swords is all about ego. It's a self-imposed prison. It's being in this particular spot for way too long. You don't want to get to the Nine of Swords where you're not sleeping and you're depressed and you're kind of like stuck in this anguish, right? This guy can get out of this at any time. And he's blindfolded to the fact that there's a fire behind him that's going to get him at any moment. So if you are sitting in this state like, when is my life going to start over again? When do I get to rebuild my life? Or am I going to be able to, after I have this conversation that's much needed about how I'm giving way too much to another person, all is going to be lost. All is, I want you to know that these two things will come. The Wheel of Fortune brings gifts like Ace of Cups. The Wheel of Fortune will begin to turn if you do the work, if you do the hermit work. But if you stay stuck and make the decision to stay in a situation that's no longer resonating with you and no longer working in your favor, and it's just keeping you in your head and it's keeping you up at night and it's making you feel like you don't have anything left, this wheel is going to be very hard to see turn. And we don't turn the wheel, the universe turns the wheel. It all happens in divine timing. We don't see the Ace of Cups coming, it is just handed to us. It all happens in divine timing. So you have to wait for that and not get so invested in the fact that it's not here yet, that it's never going to get there. So I think that's a really good segue into May, because I do feel like this wheel will start turning for you if you choose to do the hermit work, if you choose to really keep mastering yourself and looking at all of the things that you have accomplished in the last year, all of the ways that you have changed, all of the ways you've grown. So we have the King of Pentacles and we have the Queen of Wands. It may be that you're taking on the King of Pentacles or the Queen of Wands energy. It could be that you're just trying to be stable, or you could have an earth and a fire sign in your life. Two completely different people, both very focused, both very goal-oriented, except the King of Pentacles can kind of be quiet about their goals. The Queen of Wands is like, I'm just going to go and I'm going to do it and it's going to get done. Either way, 10 of Pentacles and the Devil. Don't let your ego get involved. This could be a Capricorn in your life. But you're really trying to, you're waiting for your stability to show up. It's like we had the 6 of Pentacles and the 3 of Pentacles, and how am I going to build? How am I going to build? And I also think, who am I going to build with? And who do I need to cut out of my life? And, who is making me feel like the 5 of Pentacles, where I don't matter, or, and I almost want to say, this girl, I noticed this the other day. I didn't even notice it until recently. I've been using these cards for so long. She's turning around and looking into the past. And I don't want you to dwell on the past. And I don't want you to think of, man, I used to have this, and I used to have this, and I used to have this in my life, because used to is not future forward. Then we have the 5 of Wands. And that's that outer conflict. We have, if you are conflicted about where your future is supposed to be and you're feeling kind of left out of the present moment, that's where that Wheel of Fortune energy will come in if you let it. If you have been doing the work and you are working on your karma, again, I'll say it again, Saturn is in retrograde, and it's going to be in retrograde for a while. So make sure that, when planets go into retrograde, this is a really good time. A lot of people are like, oh my God, retrograde. I hate that word. It's okay, because there are positives to retrogrades too. It's a really good time to look back in your past, which is maybe that's what you need to do. Look back into your past and find out what it is that needs to be fixed, because you want to get back to this 10 of Pentacles, and this is coming. May looks really good for that. But if you haven't dealt with your karma and there's still some conflicts going on in your life, and it has to do with an earth sign or a fire sign, you may feel very, very alone in in the position you're in right now. We have the Emperor, so Aries. This could be an Aries and a Capricorn you're dealing with. We also have the Queen of Swords. Interesting how everybody's coming out but you. It's like you're really focusing on everybody else and not yourself. And then we have the Nine of Pentacles, which is being very independent. So if you're taking on the Queen of Swords quality, which I wouldn't be surprised if you did, and you're being very independent, the Emperor is showing up in everybody's readings for April and May, because Chiron is in Aries, and it really is time to stand up for yourself. And the Queen of Swords does really stand up for herself. Oftentimes she will give so many chances to people and then finally just be done. And I feel like that's kind of where you guys are right now, is really needing to take charge, take the lead. I want you to know that the Wheel of Fortune is at the bottom of the deck again. Take the charge, take the charge, or you can take the charge. Take the lead in the situation, and, you know, and go for what you want. Like, don't worry about what everybody else is doing in their life, because now it's your turn. It's your turn to get your good karma. And I feel like if you're looking at this Capricorn card, this Saturn in Capricorn, and you're looking back at your past and you're like, do I really deserve this? I want to say you deserve all the good karma that's coming to you. And know that you are building your life in a very stable, very independent way, despite the conflicts you've been through, despite the conflicts you're going through. Wheel of Fortune, the Hierophant, so this could be a Taurus as well. The King of Pentacles is the Taurus card. Also, like, let's remember again that Uranus is going into Taurus. So, you know, the cards are basically saying it's coming. The wheel is turning in your favor. Uranus is moving into Taurus. And it really is a forward movement for you, as long as you don't go back to the Nine of Swords. Like I talked about, if you continue to sit in the Eight of Swords and you don't do the work like the Hermit, which I feel like a lot of you will do the work like the Hermit, but if some of you end up in the Nine of Swords where you're like, oh my God, I sat in the Hermit for way too long, and now I'm in this Nine of Swords state where I can't sleep and I'm thinking about it all the time. The Empress, Three of Cups, Judgment, and then the Six of Swords. You have ample opportunities, Scorpio, to master who you are, and we've talked about this before. Really making things happen for yourself and really letting the universe guide you into celebration and into happiness and into spiritual connections and your soul tribe and finding your people and knowing that those people are there. And I think that Uranus and Taurus is going to shake up that very foundation, but it's going to be in such a good way. If you don't raise your head out of this position in the Nine of Swords, you're not going to see it. If you keep dwelling on the stuff, the chaos and the hurt from the past and losing whatever it is that you had to let go of, it's going to be really hard for the universe to guide you into self-mastery, right? But it's time for that. It's a revolution time. It's time for you to don't be anxious. Really come into Six of Swords, mental clarity. I like how the swords went down. You know, and it may be that when you see this, it's almost like right now you don't believe me. You really, really, really don't believe what's going to happen, right? Mid-May, when the wheel starts to turn and things start to look up a little bit and your mind can finally start to become a little bit more clear about what your future is going to look like, and you can actually see that the universe is guiding you in a very, very good way, The Six of Swords is noticeable. The Six of Swords is moving from one horrible situation into something much calmer. And you doing it yourself. And you letting the wheel turn in your favor instead of forcing it to happen. So open yourself up to the possibility that it's really time to stand up for who you are against anybody in your life, whether it be an air sign, earth sign, fire sign. And know that the happy day, the celebration, it might be a little slow going, Knight of Pentacles, or somebody else might be moving very slowly. But I feel like this particular time for you, Taurus season, is all about you and really growing who you are and knowing what you want to see in your future for stability. I think that that is a wonderful plan, you know? All right, Scorpio. I love you guys so much. Don't be anxious about anything. Just breathe through that heart racing anxiety. Because holding that low vibration is not healthy, nor is it very beneficial in the things that you really want to accomplish in the next month. So I love you guys. If you want a personal reading, check out the InstantGo app or my website, fearlessintuition.net. All of the relationship readings are on special right now for the next 9 days. And in May, there will be a new special. So take advantage of that special when you can. And I really hope that you guys have a wonderful, wonderful rest of April and beginning of May. And I will see you for the second half. Bye.